Zone of the Enders, the second runner, was a great game for its time and has garnered glorious fandom with its mature cast of characters, challenging 3D spatial combat system and intriguing effects. Now, 15 years down the road, and one HD remaster on the PlayStation 3 later, the classic gem has been remastered once more on the PlayStation 4, equipped with 4K support along with a few nifty VR additions. For those unfamiliar with the Zone of the Enders, ZOE, games, the world is set in the distant future where humanity has conquered the solar system and encountered a new energy source called Metatron. While the colonized humans on Mars are fighting for independence from Earth's dictatorship. Zone of the Enders 1 featured frenetic gameplay and predictable but enjoyable plot lines complete with stylish cinematic cutscenes. Its sequel ZOE 2 continues along this path with bigger, tougher robot enemies and refined controls, at that time. Like the first game, ZOE 2 and the remaster version are essentially a third-person shooter combined with hack-and-slash action elements as you pilot a powerful mech called Jihudi. Much of what makes the ZOE franchise work was the mecha design and its presentation. It is great to finally be back on the pilot seat again. The base game of Zone of the Enders, the second runner, remains mostly unchanged, save for a few tweaks. You now have the option to choose between the classic control scheme and the new Pro Controller scheme. The sub-weapons can also be assigned to the D-pad, allowing faster switching mid-combat. This does improve the combat experience, as you no longer need to navigate through the drop-down menu. Having said that, for a remaster version, the controls may need a little more work to match up to current day's gaming expectations, as it can be slightly clunky and needs getting used to. For example, the auto-targeting system still locks on to the closest target, friend and foe. This often causes you to attack your allies by accident. The only real way to avoid this is to not button smash your attacks. In regards to gameplay, it is very intuitive and reflects the fact that you're really piloting a nimble, giant mech. Attacks are fast-paced and satisfying to execute. The variety of sub-weapons offer plenty of options to defeat the gallery of enemies in the game. Best of all, seeing all the action play out smoothly in 60 FPS on a 4K screen is an absolute treat. Smooth and shiny visually does not necessarily mean it is better, as what hinders the remaster from shining brighter is that aside from nostalgic value, the game design remained old school. It is fine to incorporate puzzles and escort quests into the missions, however, the execution felt stale and dated, as present-day players may not find redundancy in level design to be as tolerable as before. Audio-wise, the remaster has a very crisp and clean soundtrack that gels seamlessly with the game's sci-fi ambience. The game now supports surround sound that adds an extra kick to the action and destruction. This particularly shines when the game is played with a VR headset. Speaking of which, the VR editions are the real reason why you should get this remaster. You can play the entire game in first person with a VR headset. Switching the game to VR mode will put you in the cockpit of Jihudi, where everything is up close and immersive. Moving around and fighting can seem tricky at first as you no longer have the wide view of your surroundings. The developers anticipated this, and included a 3D model Jihudi hologram to assist your orientation and provide additional visual cues for your attacks. If you've always wanted to know what it feels like to be in a giant mech vividly, this is a good start. Overall, it was fun to play through the game again, from start to finish. Getting reacquainted with the story, characters and fast-paced combat was a nostalgic trip well spent. If you've missed out on this game, this is the version you need to get. Returning fans should give the VR mode a try to experience this classic title in a whole new way. Playing Zone of the Enders, the second runner Mars felt like a visit to your primary school that you have not stepped a foot in for years. It has several improvements and additions, but it is essentially still the same school with the same foundation that may not be optimal for modern gamers. Being able to play the game in 60 FPS in 4K is a big plus, as there aren't many mecha games out there that offers a similar experience as this game does when it comes to slick aerial mech combat. If you haven't played this classic title or its remaster for the PlayStation 3, then this is its best remaster yet and should be a part of your collection of classic games.